Hello, hello. Or should I say bonjour? Or perhaps bonsoir? Maybe even bon weekend. I don't know when you're listening. I don't know where you're listening. I don't know who you are. But one thing I do know is that you are welcome here to the Earful Tower podcast. My name is Oliver G. I don't know why I'm speaking French, actually, because I'm in Sweden still, as many of you still know. But unlike last week, which was all about those crazy Swedes, I'm back to Paris as a topic this week. And in fact, the whole idea of being outside of Paris is what prompted this episode for me, because just like me, I know that there are a lot of people who listen to this show who are not in Paris and who wish they were. And due to, well, all kinds of reasons, there are people who wish they could be in Paris and couldn't be right now. And so it got me thinking, what is it about Paris that people like so much? And instead of just asking people, what do you like about Paris, which has been done a billion times before, I thought I'd kind of be a little bit tricky here. And I put out a message on Patreon. So the members of this show, of which there are over 500 now, which we can assume are the kind of ultimate Paris lovers, because they've gone all in on this show. And I said, what is going to be the first thing you do when you get back to Paris again? And then by collecting all of their hundreds of responses, it gave me a really good idea of why people love Paris. So what I've done with today's guest, which is my wife, Lina again, partly because we're still in Sweden, but partly because she's in the same boat as I am here, we gathered together our favorite answers. We're going to go through them, read out your emails here and responses, and we're going to try and deduce why people love Paris so much. Now, at the end of the episode, I got a very special guest who's going to chime in with some words of wisdom, but I won't reveal anything about who that is. It's someone who's been on the show before. Very, very special guest. Bit of a surprise that I chatted to him. Ooh, there was a clue. But before we get into it, I just want to give a shout out to Jerry Casillas. Jerry Casillas and his wife, Yesenia. I got a great email from her. She says, guess who just became a Patreon member? Me! I've been a long time listener to your podcast and absolutely love your audiobook. By far my favorite audiobook I've heard. What a lovely thing to say. Thank you. Thanks for all you do, for your light humor, your ability to mix with everyone, ask questions that we would. Please give a shout out to my husband. Well, there you go. I did that, Jerry. There's your shout out. Hello, Jerry. We love going to Paris every year. Paris brings us so much joy. Looking forward to coming back. Well, I'm hoping that you get back as soon as possible. And thanks for joining the bandwagon. Ding, ding, ding. A Patreon member. Welcome to the club. Anyone else who's thinking about it, patreon.com/the Earful Tower. Worth joining just to see these hundreds of responses about what to do in Paris. But without further ado, I'm going to get into it. Lina at Prison Postcards is my wife. She's the guest today. Special guest at the end. Let's do it. One word of caution though, and it could be something that sees Lina banned from this very show. After we recorded the episode, she realized that when she makes reference to Les Deux Magots Cafe, I don't even think she's been there. She was thinking of Café de Flore, which is pretty much next door. So when you hear her talking about how much she loves particular details there, she got no idea. She's talking about Café de Flore, so don't go to Café de Magots looking for what Lina talks about. You'll understand when you hear it. Let's get into the episode. Well, hello again, Lina.
Hello.
2 episodes in a row.
I know.
Greedy.
I cannot believe my luck.
The idea is today is you're going to sort of like help out with the episode.
Yeah.
As a sort of producer.
I mean, help out.
As in...
I'm here to like be the reaction panel.
Exactly. So I wasn't like, sitting in an empty, booing, hissing, laughing.
Hissing?
Well,
how do you do that?
No.
Oh, right.
So the idea is I asked 500 people who love Paris. I didn't ask them why they love Paris. I kind of tricked them. Mm-hmm. I said, what do you want to do as soon as you get back to Paris? The first thing you want to do. And my logic for that is that's a way of people saying the true reason, the things that they love the most. I figured that would shine through.
That's pretty sneaky.
So I got hundreds of responses. I mean, hundreds.
Yeah, I saw. That was a long list. I thought it was a telephone book. And then I remembered no one has a telephone book anymore.
Definitely not in Sweden. Speaking of Sweden, by the way, a lot of emails about our Swedish episode.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, yep.
Really?
So much so, quick shout out, because we're still in Sweden as we speak for a little bit longer, I started an Instagram account, The Earful Sweden, where I've been posting pictures. 500 followers.
What?
Mm-hmm. You could call it popular demand.
That
for
flew.
more. Yeah, I know.
That's in like one day.
But we're not here to talk about Sweden. We're here to talk about Paris and why people like it. So my idea is by reading some of these messages from these Paris lovers, and the mystery guest at the end, of course, we'll be able to ascertain what it is about this magical city that people seem to love. And you guys sitting at home can sit there, driving your car or chopping your onions or whatever you're doing, thinking, these guys are speaking my language here. Or maybe
English.
not. Yeah. So I'll just read through a few. I couldn't include them all. Too many. So sorry if you don't get yours read out. But Beth Anderson is first. She says, my 3 sisters and I hope to visit Paris in late May next year. Hope that happens. 2 of us have been before and 2 of us will be first timers, and we want to walk along the Seine, visit Notre Dame, ride a bateau mouche, stroll through Montmartre, perhaps take a cooking lesson, listen to some jazz, manouche, eat everything. Good start.
Yeah, I like that. I like that it's 4 sisters and 2 have been and 2 haven't. So haven't.
2 haven't.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she says, our trip has been inspired by reading All the Light We Cannot See, so we also want to visit Saint-Malo. We better add Giverny and Musée de l'Orangerie. Now, to be fair, Beth, that's not the first thing you'll do. That's about 3 weeks worth of stuff.
Yeah, that will take a while.
But you actually chose that one, Lina, because you said you like the...
I like the sisters. I thought it was nice.
Great tip for reading as well, All the Light We Cannot See. And if your trip has been inspired by reading that, it'll be an unusual visit to Saint-Malo because that's set in the World War II.
Yeah, it's not the nicest.
Yeah.
But Saint-Malo is very nice.
Very nice.
Very, very nice.
So there's a good tip. And there's part of a theme. A lot of people said that they wanted to see Notre Dame, see the Seine, see jazz music. These are things that came up a lot. Do you know what Irene White said?
No, tell me.
I like this one. She said, this is probably going to sound strange, but I love to walk through a carrefour, which is a supermarket, and do some grocery shopping for wherever I'm staying. I love grocery stores in general.
Oh my god.
Yes, I said it.
I can really relate. This is so... Me too, Irene.
Do you like French grocery stores, Lina?
Yeah.
Or just grocery
It's
stores
a lot of
in
yogurt.
general? That's true. Yogurt.
Lots
Yogurt for the American. Did we talk about this last week as well?
Oh no.
But the grocery stores in foreign countries is always fascinating.
It is. It's kind of like a good little quick look into what's going on.
It should be on top of those lists of things for tourists to do in every city, because you get such a glimpse into how a country works.
What's the best one you've been into?
The best country for supermarkets?
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember I went into one in Italy, and it was the first time I had to. I came across the idea that you had to weigh your own bananas, and I got some bananas and took it to the front, and the guy didn't speak English and I didn't speak Italian, and we had this.
Gestures.
Yeah. It was like he was trying to gesticulate, go and weigh the bananas, and because I'd never weighed bananas before in a supermarket, I had no idea what was going on.
So what happened?
He took me, or a customer took me to the back.
Who weighed the bananas?
It wasn't me, but I got it, and then it was, I don't know.
Let's just say bananas got weighed.
Bananas got weighed and paid
day.
for, and it was a nice experience. But
That's good.
in terms of world supermarkets, I don't know. I just like seeing the different ones.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
I really like. There's one that stands out to me, and it was. I think it was in the Grove in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Where we went with Eddie.
Yeah.
Hi, Eddie.
Yeah.
Behind the knobs and twists and turns.
Eddie?
Yeah.
Isn't he always? But what about the supermarket?
It was just so good. They had the best nachos and guacamole.
What was it called? Was it called
I can't remember.
Trader Joe's or something like that? Is
Maybe.
that what it was?
It was fantastic.
Well, okay.
Pineapple.
I was just So there you go. Irene White likes the supermarkets. Julia M. Gray. She says cheese. Want to eat cheese, bread, chocolate, all sorts of pastry. Visit Bonbon au Palais en Rue Monge and eat their homemade marshmallows. I don't know about that. I haven't had that before.
Okay, I have to confess that I did pick out a few of these, and this one I picked out.
Yeah.
And I picked it out because it represented so many others who also talked about food, and they just want to go to Paris to eat and to discover little like specialist shops and that sort of thing. So I thought it was very representative for a larger group.
I wonder if that's a particularly American thing. I don't know where Julia M. Gray comes from.
No.
But if she's from America, I feel like a lot of these names are from America. I wonder what that says about French food or what that says about American food.
Oh, yeah.
She continued, visit Pierre Hermé and many others and eat macarons until I'm ready to throw up.
Oh, dear.
Eat eclairs from L'Éclair de Génie, caramels from Maison Leroux on Rue de Bourbon, Le Château, and finish it off by having lunch at Hugo and Co. on Rue Monge, if it's still there. And for all those addresses that are mentioned in this show and more, all the ones that I took off Patreon, Eddie will be making it into a super scroll with loads of tips. Kenny Fisher. Kenny Fisher, who, big fan of the show.
Yep.
And he loves to write in bullet points.
Yeah.
Bullet point Kenny.
Bullet point Kenny, yeah.
He writes in bullet points what he'd do on his first day. He wants to stay in the 11th arrondissement. Bullet point, walk along the canals past Bastille to the Seine.
I mean, it's very practical. Bullet point.
Bullet point, cross the Seine to the left bank. Bullet point, continue on the left bank pedestrian way almost to the Eiffel Tower. Bullet point, then have a salad niçoise at one of his favourite cafes in the 7th with an amazing view. That's a very good first day back.
Oh, but I feel like he was only teasing on the last one.
How so?
One of his favourite restaurants with an amazing view.
He
And
didn't
no
say which
names
one.
given. Do you want to keep it a secret, Kenny?
Kenny, send in your favourite restaurant in the 7th, although there are plenty of them.
Immediately.
Plenty of them in that
Yes.
district. And salad niçoise in Paris, that's cheating, isn't it? Wouldn't that be what you do in Nice?
Well, technically, it's not too far away.
True.
Within the country region.
Yeah. The next one that came in wasn't a tip about food at all. It said, no fancy restaurants are necessary. I just need a baguette in the prettiest park with you, Oliver, by my side to give you the longest hug and kisses. Oh, it's from my mum.
Oh,
It's from my mum, Ruth,
sweet.
who was one of the earliest supporters of this show.
Yeah.
What a lovely woman.
And
Thanks,
of
Mum.
you,
And of me, yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and she also asked for a personal tour of all my favourite places in Paris. I can make that happen, Mum. Or Mom, if you're an American listening, not know what I'm talking
Hopefully
about.
soon.
Yeah, hopefully
Fingers
soon. Susan wants to go to the Deux Magots to say hello to Amérique, the best waiter in Paris, and to have a peach kir.
I wonder why he's so good.
I
What is he doing?
Well, I wanted to talk to you, Lina, about the Deux Magots, because I don't think I've ever been in there.
What?
Nope.
Well, we have to rectify that.
Well, I've always thought it was a bit of a tourist trap and expensive coffee.
I guess it is, in a way.
And you went there fairly recently?
Yeah, I went there for a meeting recently, and it's good.
Who did you meet there? You didn't call for that meeting? Someone else must have. No. Who was it?
Not.
Was it someone who lived in Paris? You don't have to say who it was, but was it a
It was a jewelry designer.
French?
No.
Interesting. I wonder how many French people are meeting in there.
Yeah.
Should I go? I should
I
go.
have a feeling that it's not a lot.
No.
Because it is a bit of a tourist, like it is expensive and it's got that, they really live on the old myth.
I wonder who this Amérique
But it's
chap
nice.
is.
I really liked it. I especially liked the placemats. That sounds crazy.
You like the
But I like the
placemats?
placemats because they have it's a big, on the round tables, they have a placemat that's the size of the table and it's illustrated by Sempe. You know that illustrated those very, very simple line drawings and like watercolors, and I really like it.
So you would recommend going there?
Yeah, I would.
I should go there.
It's perfect people watching. In the heart of Saint-Germain. It's nice.
Okay. Well, we should go there together.
That was a massive shout out to them.
Yeah, I know.
Should I take it back?
We're not sponsored by them. You
No.
can say what you want.
No, I like them.
Okay, good. Carl Beam. Carl Beam. Always an intelligent comment from this guy. You recognise his name as well?
Oh, yeah.
He writes in, he says he wants to walk. The first thing he'll do, walk to the Café Saint-Régy on the Ile Saint-Louis, which is where I recorded the episode with Agnès about Notre Dame. He says Jodie will have an Aperol Spritz and I'll have a Negroni.
Oh, such good choices, both of them.
You're going to like this. Here's a backup plan.
Uh-huh.
To strike up a conversation with an interesting Swede who seems agreeable to buying me a red scooter. Then try to come up with an idea for a podcast or a book or something that might draw some publicity in the New York Times. But it seems that sort of thing has been done to death.
Oh, Carl.
I guess
I'm
that's,
on to you.
I guess that's an in-joke. For anyone who's new around here, you've got a bit of catching up to do.
Yeah, he's referring to the book and previous podcasts and
Thanks, Carl.
you know.
Thanks, Carl. Anthony
nice.
Webb, another friend of the show.
Yeah.
He writes in that he also wants to go to the Send first, but then to drop into Le Peloton coffee shop for a chat. He said he'd shout me a flat white to celebrate because it means Australia's allowed Australians to leave.
Yeah.
Because at the moment
That is a cause of celebration.
Yeah. But yeah, he plans to come in November. I hope it happens, Anthony.
Yeah.
And it would be lovely to see. I met him before in a couple of places, but in the Peloton for a flat white.
Yeah, same.
He's one of these guys who comes to Paris and has a regular schedule, as in he'll go to the Peloton a lot, and he becomes a regular.
And people start recognizing
Paul
him.
from Peloton knows him.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. It's a really good way of feeling like at home in a foreign city. We've done that like recently when we spent some time at my parents' house in Mariefred, just outside of Stockholm, just to feel like some sort of like you belong in a way.
Yep.
We went to the same cafe several days in a row, and then after a while they start to recognize us.
Something funny happened, if I can tell the truth, is you foisted it upon them at one point, which is really unlike you as well.
What did I do?
We went in there on like the third day or something.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's a magical third. It is though.
It should be.
That's make it or break it. If you're not recognized after 3, you're doing something wrong.
And you were like, well, this isn't going to break because I need to have this again. You needed that caffeine hit or whatever.
Yeah.
So we walk in and I'm expecting maybe they'll say, is it just the usual guys? But they didn't. No. And you said, haha, look at us in here for the third day in a row. Just regular customers, aren't we? Just regular Joes in here for our regular coffee. And I looked at you like, Lina, you can't force it.
I just saw that look of, neglect and disinterest, and I was like, I need to cement this, baby.
But it kind of worked because they had lots of different staff, and then a few days later we went in, and we got chatting to someone we hadn't met yet. And she says, do you live here? Oh, no, we live in Paris. She goes, oh, another staff member here told me about you guys.
So...
At gunpoint.
Did my little comment fly or what?
You do make a good point. For people listening to this who regularly go to Paris, it's a really good city for being a regular. And they do tend to reward regulars.
Totally.
And they like it because a lot of tourists go to Paris and it's easy to blend in with the crowd. But if you do what Anthony Webb does, and a few other people who have written in here and go to the same place, they'll typically recognize you.
And this works best, I should say, in places that are not super touristy, because they get such a massive turnover of people, so they're less likely to recognize you.
Good point. You know who else is from the same state in Australia as Anthony Webb? Brian Fitzgerald, the golf doctor.
Only the golf doctor.
And he does a similar thing, actually. I met Brian. You met Brian too.
Yeah.
He says that he's going to go straight to Dupin des Idées, the bakery in the 10th arrondissement.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go to 10 Bells or Holly Belly for a coffee. And I know from back and forthing with Brian, he follows those guys on Instagram and back and forths with them. And so when he gets back to Holly Belly or whatever, he's it's like he's never left.
That's also a smart way of keeping in contact.
Earful Tower members know what's going on.
Yeah,
We knew
you
that.
know what's good.
Patricia Anderson, she says, so many options you've given us listening to the Earful Tower. I can't wait to flaneur about, but my first stop will be Rue Montague. Second arrondissement, one of my favourite streets in Paris. Rue Montague. Impossible to spell.
Absolutely impossible.
It is. Would be.
Impossible to walk down without buying something to eat.
What would you buy if you were down there tomorrow?
Croissant from Storer.
Storer. Yes. Hard to pronounce as well.
The heaviest croissant you'll ever meet.
Could double as a weapon, even when they're fresh.
They're massive.
Yeah.
They're so heavy.
Yeah.
They weigh like...
It's like a meal, isn't it? You could feed a family with one of them.
Absolutely.
They could be the best croissants.
They're
the other
so
one
delicious.
that I really like is that Dave Leibovitz recommended to me way back in season 1, and he was right. It is Blé Sucré in the 12th.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. I went there, I was doing a walk show. I was walking across the city, and we're approaching it, and Lynn from Hawaii, she puts in a super chat, on YouTube you can send in $10 or whatever. She goes, go and buy yourself a croissant during the live stream. I did it.
And in that place as well?
Yeah.
Oh.
Speaking of live stream, I will do a live stream in Stockholm very soon due to popular demand.
Exciting.
Where? Probably on Strandvägen, that beautiful
Yes.
street.
That translates to beach road.
Though it is by the water, but no beach. But when we did a little boat tour, they said it was inspired by Paris.
Yeah.
So if you guys have been keeping an eye on social media, I've been taking pictures of doors in Sweden. That's the area that's inspired by Paris. Lots of embassies, wide
Like
boulevards.
the boulevard
Yeah.
style. Yeah, it's really
Östermalm,
nice.
it's called. Lisa Wasit, I think I'm pronouncing that right, says the first thing she'll do is explore our new neighborhood. Thinking of Rue Mouffetard area. That is a good area.
I haven't been too much up there.
Yeah.
I still need to explore a bit.
No, we went there very briefly when we were staying
For
in
an
the
ice
7th.
cream?
I think we went into that coffee shop, the one near the Arène de Lutèce.
Ah, so that's where it... Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, of course. Yeah, okay, remember.
I was walking around Rue Mouffetard with a special guest at the end of this episode. No more to be said. She wants to visit the shops to stock up the kitchen with cheese, butter, and whatever fruits and veggies look delicious, and choosing a local cafe to sit for apéro and to breathe in Paris. That sounds lovely, Lisa.
That sounds like a very good idea.
And it went with two of the main themes that I think are why people love Paris. One, the food that we've talked about a lot. Two, the cafes and the apéro and the people watching. But three, breathing in Paris.
Yeah, and just walking around.
So many people
Like
said they
doing
want to.
nothing.
Yeah, it's a city to do nothing in.
Yeah.
Or to be sort of passive. Let things happen to you.
Let the city happen to
Let
you.
the city happen to you.
Let the city take you for a ride.
Ride. The song.
To quote.
To quote Slim and the Beast. Catherine Barnett, who we've met as well on Rue des Abbesses. This is like a
it's
little
like a family reunion.
isn't it
Yeah.
just? She says, I'll drop the bags, pick up the shopping trolley, head to the supermarket, probably silently weeping tears of joy and relief in equal measure.
Oh, wow.
She says, when I'm stocked up, I'll head down to Pont Neuf, beautiful bridge and one of my favourite streets in the country. Then she's going to shed more tears. Oh, Catherine.
No.
Then she's going to
Drink
walk...
plenty of water.
Then she's going to... And have some salt, too.
Yeah,
Have some
important.
charcuterie. Then walk to a piano bar to air hug a couple of friends and feed my soul with their music.
That sounds nice.
More shopping for Catherine. Just like Irene.
Tell me.
Go shopping. No, that's what she wants to go. Go into the supermarket.
Yeah, of course.
Silently weeping. How do
Yeah.
you silently weep? Are there
I
still
think it's
tears
just
coming
like
out?
when you're beautiful, like beautiful crying. Like it's not the hulking, like,
Not ugly crying.
no, not ugly.
It's that beautiful crying.
Yeah, it's just like serene face, but like a single tear.
Can you give me an example?
Here it is.
Oh, that was kind of like Audrey Hepburn.
Oh
crying,
yeah. Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It backs it. So okay, picture this: Audrey Hepburn, breakfast at Tiffany's. Towards the end of the film, they're in a taxi. No spoilers, and she sheds a little tear.
Sad ending.
Yeah, it's not like a hulking. Do you say hulking?
I don't think so.
That might be a
You mean
Swedish
like the
thing.
Hulk?
No,
The Hulk
it's like
doesn't cry.
it's like this. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what we'd call that, but it was. I think we know what you mean.
Sobbing.
Put you on the spot here. Quickfire round.
Ah,
Honestly, answer this.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen Breakfast at Tiffany's?
countless.
No, roughly.
60?
What?
Oh, that's embarrassing.
You just said that now.
Oh, no.
That's for real.
Yeah, but it's like a lot.
A fun fact about Lina that everybody needs to know is when I met her, she used to talk a lot more.
Oh, don't you dare.
I have to.
Not on air.
We're being honest here. When I met, I thought she's so charming and foreign and she has such a unique way of speaking. I've never heard anything like it. And then, so she didn't talk the way you guys are hearing on the podcast.
I've left the room, by the way.
If anyone's still listening to this episode anymore. So when I met her many years ago, she talked differently to how she's talking now. In fact, if I were to imitate her, she'd say that she'd be like, "Oh, you fool! Shall we go to the cinema? I love you, you crazy fool!
What are you talking about?
I'll just go ape if you don't." That kind of thing.
Oh,
if I
dear.
can't get back to Manhattan, and I thought, why she talks so interesting? Doesn't sound Swedish at all. And then one day she said, "Oh, Oliver, I'll simply die if you don't watch my favorite movie." I said, "What is that?" And she said, Can
Okay,
we watch
no
Breakfast
one-
at Tiffany's
no one
for
believed
the,
this.
for the
No one
60th?
believed
And we put it on, and straight away Audrey Hepburn goes, "Oh, I'll go ape if I don't get my Danish croissant."
I was an impressionable young Swede.
Absolutely.
Just learning English
And
in
I
her
said,
own way.
I said, Lina, your whole character's based on Audrey Hepburn. And you go, what?
You what?
And she toned it down, believe it or not. Oh, off topic. Although Audrey Hepburn did love Paris. Sorry about that, Lina. Mm-hmm. Melissa Webb, oh gosh, she's sending me daggers. She's sending me hulking daggers from across the room. Melissa Webb says she wants to walk along the Seine. Oh, Seine again. While eating. That imitation put me in a headspin.
Yeah, I can imagine. You
really
really
went all in.
tensed your face.
While eating a croque monsieur. The ones I make at home aren't the same. Now I want to pause there. Making croque monsieurs at home, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it sounds cool. I guess it's just a sort of fried cheese
It's just
sandwich.
like a piece of toast.
Yeah. It
In a
sounds
way.
cool to call it a croque monsieur.
Yeah, it does.
But then she wants to take her kids to the Rodin Museum. Great idea.
Beautiful.
Lovely. It's one of her favourites. She didn't get a chance to go last time when she took her kids for the first time. It's a great museum. Right up there. Right up there. One of those museums where the museum itself, forget everything that's in it, but the museum itself is great.
Yeah, the building and the garden.
Yep.
Is beautiful.
Montmartre Museum is another one. And all of those little ones in the 8th. You know, the little...
Yeah, they're like...
what do you call them?
Hotel Particulier.
That's right, the private mansions.
Yeah.
I did a story once about the best museums in Stockholm, in Paris. Find that if you want my tips. But Gustave Moreau was one of them.
That's...
The Spiraling
yeah.
Staircase. Jacques Marandré, there's another one. But anyway, good tip there, Melissa. And the first mention of a museum, I think. Someone else mentioned the Carnivale Museum, which is so high on my list. I've got 2 more to get through, and then I'm going to ask you, Lina, what you want to do when you first get there. So, did you use wince?
No.
Tammy Wanamaker. It sounds German. Wanamaker? She says, coming from the US, I usually arrive early in the morning, so after dropping my bags, my itinerary would look like this. Grab a cinnamon roll from the Circus Bakery.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
I stand behind that one.
Yep. I stand in front in the queue. Then make my way to l'Église Saint-Julien-le-Pauvre after pausing to check out the progress on Notre Dame from across the river. Good idea. Then she's going to say a prayer of gratitude. Je suis de retour, she adds, and then maybe pop into Shakespeare and Company, where, good tips, not the only person to mention Shakespeare and Company, but where my book sold out.
Is it still in there?
Nope, sold out.
Completely?
Yep, and they've taken the link off as well because
Whoa.
they want more books, but I'm not there to give them to them
Yeah.
because I think they want me to sign them. So if you are thinking to buy my book, either wait or the earfultower.com/memoir. So funny I said memoir because the last one I'm going to read out is sort of directly and indirectly related to it. Mm-hmm. You might recognize the name of Jim McPherson.
Yes.
Jim McPherson.
Hello, Jim.
Firstly, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
60. I don't know if you wanted that to be public knowledge.
Well, it is.
60th birthday was last week. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the Earful Tower MVPs.
I think that deserves a little trumpet. What do you think, Eddie?
Anyway,
Go on.
A little trumpet.
Yeah, a little one.
We shouldn't play Happy Birthday because you gotta pay for that stuff.
Really? Even
Yeah.
if you sing it?
Music is so... Oh, gosh. Anyway,
Okay.
Happy birthday to Jim McPherson. And one of the reasons he's an MVP is because he was posting Paris on Air from Chicago. Him and Cindy, who we've also met. Lovely people. Anyway, welcome to the Hall of Fame, Jim. And thanks so much for sending out the books. But this is what Jim in Chicago says. He'll walk down Wagram. Wagram? How do you even say that?
I don't know.
It's definitely not Wagram.
No.
Anyway, to the Arc de Triomphe. Then the length of the Champs-Élysées to Concorde. Then through the Tuileries, ending, I think, at Angelina's for chocolat chaud and a pastry. It'll be May, fingers crossed, so there should be blooms on trees and in gardens along the way.
Oh, that sounds really nice.
Another trumpet?
That will do.
Yeah. But there, that's a nice one. Thanks, James. Thanks for sending out the books. Still books available, but James has gone... Jim, I call him.
James.
Has gone through them all, so thank you for that, and Cindy too. But let's finish on, speaking of pastry, what you first want to do, because I have a sneaking suspicion pastry might be involved.
Yes.
When we get back to Paris very soon.
Yeah, very soon. I can't wait to find myself a good pain au chocolat from Mamiche. I think it will have to be, because we live in Montmartre.
You do like the pain au chocolats.
I do, and they just don't make them the same here in Sweden. You can find a good croissant, but
expensive.
Yeah, expensive, and but the pain au chocolat is non-existent.
Fun fact: whenever we go for pastries, I get a croissant. Lina gets a pain au chocolat every time, pretty much.
Fun fact.
Wasn't that fun? Was it?
Really.
Sorry about that. As for me, before I get onto this mystery guest, I was thinking about this. What I really like about Paris right now is, personally, I lived there for almost 6 years, and I feel like I know the city really well. Like, really well. And this podcast is growing a lot. The book has been quite successful. I feel like I've never known Paris so well.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's a good time.
I'm the young man.
That young.
I'm young. There's some quote from Hemingway that every young man should have lived in should have lived in Paris once. Something like that. I feel like I'm that man right now. And I just want to walk around, experience it, say hello to people, meet people, interview people, and eat croissants.
Oh, that's a great feeling.
So I just want to be in the city that I live in
and
experience it. So
drink her waters.
Oh,
breathe her air.
Some people do to Paris.
I know, I can't.
You don't like it?
No, it's
fair
not
enough.
for me.
Anyway, that's it from you. Anyway, I've got one more interview to do, so thanks for being on the show again.
Thank you
At
for having
Parisian
me.
Postcards on Instagram if anyone wants to follow her. Check out prints, handbags, and
just a good time.
And a good time.
Yeah.
Shoes is the other word I was looking for.
Good time.
Lina, lovely Lina, at Parisian Postcards. Postcards? Thank you for being on the show.
I changed direction.
Oh dear, give me an outro jingle, Eddie. So there you have it, another episode about Paris. So what's the moral? What's the moral of this whole story? Why do people like Paris so much? It seems that there's definitely a trend, this idea of walking around, being a flaneur in this city, eating the food, people watching, going to the supermarkets apparently. I think a lot of these sort of responses will have resonated with you. But this last guest, I think, is going to be a bit of a surprise to you because it was a bit of a surprise for me. I found a letter, a handwritten note in my wallet, and it said, "If you need your Paris questions answered, call this number." And I thought it was my little brother, a.k.a. Eddie, a.k.a. the editor of this show. And I thought he was messing around with me, slipping notes in my wallet again. So I call him up, expecting it to be Eddie on the phone. And then a strange yet familiar voice answered. Here's what happened.
Yes, hello, who is this?
Oh, sorry. This is Oliver. I think I got the wrong number.
Oliver, is this Oliver G? I've heard of you before. You've actually interviewed me before. You don't have the wrong number. You have the exact number you meant to call.
Is that Ernest?
This is Ernest. This is Mr. Hemingway to you, that is. Although, of course, you can call me Ernest if you fancy.
Wow, okay. It's going to sound weird. How long ago, how many years ago did I interview you?
That was about 25 years ago by my count, though. Of course, I don't count the years. I count the drinks.
So if it's been that many drinks, then, we're just talking in the mid-40s? Is that it?
It is 1946 and the Germans have left and Paris is back to being Paris as it always once was.
It always was. Well, you have a way with words, Mr. Hemingway. I'm glad I got you. But
I'm glad you got me too. I've been meaning to tell you. I have a story to tell you, though I cannot tell it to you tonight.
Okay, this is good. This is a reason for us to chat again. But perhaps I can ask you a quick question before you slip away. Is that all right?
Of course, Oliver.
1946. Paris is at a very interesting time, a timeless time, perhaps. Perhaps you could answer me, what is it about a city like Paris that makes people love it so?
You have answered the question yourself, Oliver. The city is indeed timeless. I must mention a woman that I've met recently. Her name is Edith, and I go to the Club de Cinq and I listen to her sing. And she has a fine voice and a beautiful voice, for she is true and authentic in her singing. And this is just one of the many examples of Paris and its timelessness. Reminds me of Josephine back in the day when she would sing for us, and at the Brick Top up in the hills where I would go and listen to jazz.
I've got so many questions. Firstly, when you say Edith?
Piaf, of course, the only Edith worth mentioning in this town. Except for that old rapscallion that took my money a couple of years ago.
Do you have contact details for Edith Piaf? Because I'd be quite interested.
Her line is a private number, but if you come with me to the cafe one day, I surely can introduce you after one of her songs.
Okay. Well, this is fascinating, and this is something we need to pick up. But look, I didn't mean to take much of your time. I think that will do. You've answered my question. I appreciate it, Ernest.
And you have answered my question, Oliver, without even being aware that I asked one.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, anything to help, as usual, Ernest. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Oliver. Until next time.
So there you have it. Ernest Hemingway on the show again. It's quite fortunate that I had the fortune of Ernest Hemingway being on the show again, because you're not going to believe it. If you're new around here, I did a podcast episode with Hemingway 20 years ago for him. It was about 6 months ago for me. It was in the middle of lockdown, and that episode proved really popular. So I did a walk show. If you're really new around here, you'll have no idea what a walk show is. It's like a talk show while walking, live on YouTube, and it started at midnight. It was kind of like midnight in Paris. In fact, it was midnight in Paris. I stole the idea. And Hemingway showed up for that. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I got an email from the president of the Alliance Française de New York. And they say, hey, we got 40,000 members. We loved your Hemingway walk. You think you can do something similar for an audience like ours? And I said, well, I think I can make that work. So keep your eyes peeled, everyone, for, I don't even know, some kind of... I don't know. I don't even know what to expect. But it's being planned as we speak, and I just want to give a shout out to it because it's something worth keeping your ear out for, I suppose. And the other thing is that's really exciting, sounds like I might be meeting Edith Piaf. Could that really be the case? I hope so. Something to look forward to. Thanks to everyone for listening to this show. We're 8 reviews off 500 reviews on the podcast, so throw up a review. I'm going to read out the 500th. Thanks to everybody for all your kind words, emails, and support. Especially thanks to the Patreon supporters who made this episode not only possible, but they provided all the content for it. Join them, patreon.com/The Earful Tower, and wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have a lovely week.